Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Before I came to the United States of America, I tried to gather as much information and read as many books as I could on the United States of America. And one of the qualities that I found over and over was the American pragmatism. Pragmatism is, according to situation, find the best solution to solve the problem, and use common sense and solve the problem. So you're oriented towards solving a problem right there. And then you see what, consequences are and you fix them. So these guys are saying goal-oriented, be pragmatic, be focused on what works, what doesn't work, and solve the problem at hand. Well, it seems the Americans lost that before I came here, because I didn't find that here. I found it here and there. Why? Because the capitalist system requires that. You have to work with whatever you got in order to succeed. Otherwise, nobody's going to give you anything unless you're too big to fall. Then socialism kicks in. This is America. Now, what's going on here? We have a presidential candidate in the United States of America. His name is Vivek Ramaswamy. And he is a very, very pragmatic individual, maybe because he works in the capitalist system, in the private sector, not in the public, not in the government. So that means he's not working with someone else's money, so he doesn't really care how much money the organization or the department loses. So he has to be very calculated, he has to be pragmatic. So he's talking about how he would solve the problem in Ukraine, in a pragmatic, cold way. But he's going to solve the problem. That means he's going to stop the killing of children, civilians, obviously, and the most vulnerable. Well, obviously, there's not going to be for the liking of people who have not been around the building, around the block a few times, or not even halfway, or work for a private company, or have their own company. If you have a private company, you know exactly what that guy is going to talk about. If you work for the government and wait for someone else is going to do things, oh my God. All right, let's see what's going on. Enough bullshit here. All right, so I have the article coming from, obviously, Sputnik. And we have Sputnik right here talking about 2024. This is from today, 5 hours ago, the 25th of October 2023. 2024 presidential hopeful Vivek Ramaswamy urges U.S. acceptance of new Russian regions. Well, the Russians say, well, you have to accept the reality of the territory. So he urges U.S. to accept the new Russian regions. And it's not it, more than that. So this is the guy right here. Obviously, he's portrayed as an idiot and a Putin supporter and whatever, because these guys who are portraying him as such are not pragmatic. They're ideologues, okay? They have ideologies, and their ideology is this and that, and then when you have an ideology, my friends, then you're done, because you can't be pragmatic. Based on your ideology, you're going to be paralyzed in front of a solution, of a situation. You will not be allowed to find a solution only if within the frame of your ideology. That's a problem with ideologies, among others. It's good to have principles and ideologies, but on the other hand, I am a law-abiding citizen. That means you have an ideology, or your ideology being, good servant, good citizen, okay? And I'm going to follow, and I have principles. I don't break the law. All right, there's a kid in a lake drowning, going down, dying. But you will not go to start swimming to save the child. You know why? Because in front, on the shore of the lake, there's a placard over there saying, no swimming. Swimming is illegal. And you will not go and save the child because of that stupid post saying no swimming. I'm not going to break the law, so I'm going to stay here. So a pragmatic guy will say, fuck off, and go over there and save. And then when he gets out, the idiots are going to come and say, hey, we're going to arrest you, we're going to indict you, and we're going to convict you because you broke the law. Without realizing that common sense said, it was more important to save that child that was dying instead of following your stupid policy. So that's a pragmatic guy versus an ideologue. I just, you understand the situation where I'm not going to do that because the same. My friends, you want to solve the problem? Solve it right here without ideology. With the ideology, you're going to have someone dying, Ukrainian children dying, Ukrainian old people dying, civilians, destruction, and so on, and Russians too. How hard it is, man. I don't know how hard it is to understand. Vivek Ramaswamy, in an address at the Houston Institute on October 25, suggested that Washington should actively pursue a swift resolution to the Ukrainian conflict, proposing a settlement involving the transfer of Russian-speaking regions to Russia and a firm NATO refusal to accept Ukraine. Well, the thing is, for those who might be, of a certain kind of understanding, first you got to understand it's not Ukraine. Because I know you say, well, it's up to Ukraine to determine when and who and what. No, it's not up to Ukraine. That's what they tell you. But it's not the reality. United States tells the Ukrainians what to do. Okay? So if United States tells those guys time out, over, they will say over. Okay? So if you still think that the Ukrainians are in charge, or let's put it this way, do you think that Zelensky Stein is in charge over there? You think Shmihal is in charge? Do you think that Yermak is in charge? Do you think that Tatar, now the Minister of Defense, is in charge over there? Do you think so? Those are Ukrainians in charge of Ukraine? Huh? Jesus Christ. Let's go here. Ramaswamy emphasized the need to secure a reasonable path to peace. That means stop the shit. Using an official commitment from NATO not to accept Ukraine. That's exactly what the Russians wanted. Oh my God, we lost. We shouldn't have even debated that in until December 2021. You should have talked to the Russians. He further suggested freezing the current front lines and transferring Russian-speaking regions to Russia. I'm quoting. Hey, right there. I read right there. That's the evidence. So, I'm quoting, so my view is that the correct answer here is to provide a reasonable path to peace. Deal that would quickly end this war. That would foremost make a hard commitment that NATO does not admit Ukraine to the military alliance, the entrepreneur emphasized. He also noted that such agreements would involve, and I'm quoting, freezing the current lines of control roughly where they are right now, handing over these Russian-speaking regions to Russia. At the same time, the candidate warned against automatically assuming Ukraine's alignment with American interests, emphasizing that the undemocratic actions of the Kiev regime in reference to a ban on 11 opposition parties as well as all TV media merging into one state television entity, and not only. However, the candidate emphasized the US would not acknowledge the regions unless Russia exits its military alliance with China. It ain't gonna happen. So here is where I think that's not gonna happen. Do you think that Russia and China will, because once they do that, these guys are gonna be on top of them again, trying to, Washington has recently been concerned with deepening Sino-Russian cooperation, which appears to threaten the reshaping. It's already gone. Imagine someone jumping off a cliff and going down. It's not going to come back. That's done. That's done. And who is responsible for that? Your diplomacy, which is zero. Your diplomacy is, as I said, threats, blackmail, regime change, and invasion. This is the Americans' diplomacy since 1991. Unfortunately, and the reason is because the United States had this and nobody could oppose him. And instead of saying, you know what, I'm going to be enlightened, as I say I am, and I'm going to bring freedom and democracy, not through bombing whomever I don't like and I want to take over and get my fat cat some money and some contracts for reconstruction. But they did what they did. The whole world saw it, and now they say, whoa, 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 why are you going? Hey, you too? You too, Brutus? Yeah, you too, Brutus. Why? Look what you've done. And the examples are numerous. So that's why these guys are losing. And now they say, please come back. No, they're not going to come back. They saw how Saddam Hussein was trialed by the Iraqis. They saw how Gaddafi was killed by the Libyans, right? They saw what happens in Yugoslavia, right? I don't have to go to Nuremberg trials and others, okay? It's enough with this. So this justice coming from these guys, they don't want to be at the receiving end whatsoever. It used to be, and I know in Romania, when I used to live over there, the older population, they were waiting for the Americans, and they had all kind of fairy tales about the Americans. Americans are this, Americans are like good. The Americans are doing, I hope the Americans are coming and the Soviets are gone and so on. They were not using the Soviets, they were using the Russians, which is wrong. But anyway, because they were Ukrainians, they were Jews, there were many other groups over there, they were involved in the Soviet Union. Not only the Russians, but anyway, remember, Stalin, Djugashvili, that was his name. Djugashvili was not a Russian. And he was the biggest criminal in the Soviet Union, together with Lenin. Lenin again, look and see how Russian Lenin was. With Trotsky, another Russian. All these three are so much Russians, and I am Chinese. Okay, maybe if I want to identify as Chinese right now, I would be allowed. Okay, which I don't think so, because it seems like you are allowed to identify only as a, you can't change anything else, because why? Because these guys are just garbage, Anyway, so it says, so that alliance will not end. Those guys will not leave their guard down. If they leave the guard down, they're idiots. Ramaswamy argued that the United States, by deepening its military involvement in Ukraine conflict, risks strengthening Moscow's ties with Beijing. Hey, Ramaswamy, hey, cheers, get some Muscat over there. I know that's champagne because it has bubbles right there. See? You don't believe me? You don't believe me? I can make it bigger, but you can see. So that's a bubbly wine right there. Spumante. So these guys are not going to do it. They are already in there. It's BRICS, Shanghai Cooperation. That's the Belt and whatever roads in China. 130 countries over there. It's already done. It's off the cliff, going down. It's not going to return, baby doll. That's it. So, expressing concerns about potential conflicts with Russia, Ramaswamy deemed the Russia-China alliance as a significant threat to the United States. Too late, my friends. Too late. And I'm quoting, if you start calling everybody else an enemy, we can go down the list. But Russia's high on the list. You start incentivizing them to behave like an enemy. And that's exactly what we've done, as opposed to moving to what could be a trilateral international order between the United States, Russia, and China. It means we're going to lead. And you remember when, it's very strange, not strange at all, I'm just playing, it's strange, it's not strange, it's obvious. Remember when supposedly that guy called Adolf, supposedly he wanted to take over the whole world? Remember why do I say supposedly? Because I don't remember him saying he wants to take over the whole world. He had his Lebensraum, living space, but I'd never, maybe it is, I'm not aware of that. Maybe you can find in his Mein Kampf or anything written, or in his speeches saying we're going to take over the whole world, which I don't think you're going to find that one. But nevertheless, as the story goes, let's continue the big lie, all right? So you remember that guy wanted to get over the whole world? All right, well, we said you can't have that. So we fought them, right? Anyway, and after the Second World War, what happened? 2 countries took over the world. So instead of having one, you got 2. And both of them, they just divided the entire globe on 2. So they took over 2. So they said, okay, see, half mine, half yours. The other guy would have taken everything. See? But no, we did it in 2. And then what happened after that? In 1991, remained one guy. And instead of showing intelligence, benevolence, and so on, no, it showed only where bosses bang, 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 and whatever. Okay? So again, here, it's too late, my friends. You're not going to have trilateral. Why? Trilateral, instead of having 1, you're going to have 3. Why, let's say Zimbabwe. Why Zimbabwe should agree with that? Why should they agree with United States, China, and Russia being the guys and divide this in 3 instead of having only 1? A master versus three masters. Three masters that are spoken among one another. They are friends. So I don't care. You know what I mean? It's like instead of having one Nazi, you have three Nazis. Why do I care if I have 3, 5, 10, or 1? I'm still going to be a servant. Understand? And that was one of the reasons why the Americans opposed the Russians over there. They want to eliminate competition in Ukraine. That was just a reason. And they couldn't. They failed. They know they failed. And now they're trying to forget about it, like they forget South Africa. They forgot about, rebuilding Iraq and Afghanistan and Libya. They don't talk about those things anymore. Show me articles that say, well, we still reconstruction that, democracy functions good, the development of Iraq, the great economic achievements of Iraq and capitalism. You don't hear shit. Why? Because it's garbage. They failed. They fucked up everything of it. Not everything. They screwed up the whole society. And they love them very much. That's why they have to have some 2,500 troops in Iraq. Why? I wonder why. Anyway, my friends, at least this guy tries to be pragmatic. Well, he knows how much he knows. I think he's what? How old is he? 38 or something like this? So I don't judge 36, 38. I think more than 36. You have to be 36 to be US president, correct? Or something like that? Yeah, I think so. So I think he is more than that. 38, I think. I know he's in the 30s, so he's not 40. So being at 38 and being able to think like that, it's good. It's good. I don't expect him to know everything, as we don't know everything. No, life is a learning process. All right, my friends, here it is. Finally, a pragmatist among ideologues and, weasels. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.